Happy New Year. Indeed, may this be a truly new year with an emphasis on the word new. So let me title this program, Welcome 2023. We are excited to meet you. And you'll see why I'm using that particular title. This program is dedicated by Susanna Velasco. One of the great challenges in life is boredom, routine, monotony. As the cynics put it, the more things change, the more they stay the same. You get into a rut, your habits, your patterns, and you are frankly bored, which of course leads to all types of things, leads to all types of trouble. It could also lead to many great things, because you're trying to get rid of that reverie. And that can come through all kinds of rushes of excitement that we seek out, sometimes destructive. It could be substance abuse, it could be behavior abuse. It could also be a motivator to do, as I said, build great things. But just as nature abhors a vacuum, so too do we in our spirits. Because by nature, our spirit is pulsating energy. Like the heartbeat, constantly contracting, expanding. The breath, inhaling, exhaling. That's life, is movement, mobility. So when things become routine, robotic, it goes against the grain of our very nature. That's why it's so ironic that many people aspire to become couch potatoes. Not that they say, I want to become a PhD in a couch potato, but aspire to do nothing. What are you going to do today? Nothing. I'm going to hang around. It goes very against the very grain of our sensual spirit. Our spirit is like a flame, and a flame is restless. It's constantly moving, constantly seeking, longing. So the question is, how do we hold on to that? How do we tap into that? And why do we get trapped in this boredom? People are bored in their work, they're bored in their marriages, they're bored in their relationships, and then they seek out all kinds of novelty, something that will excite. And just look in your own heart, look at your own soul. So let me introduce an idea. This comes from the mystics. It's a very powerful concept, and especially one that applies to this day called the New Year. And that is the concept of perpetual creation. That nothing in existence is static. Everything is perpetually being renewed. Just as I'm breathing right now, and I breathe approximately, a healthy person breathes around 18 times a minute, I believe it is. Probably goes down once our lungs are not really fully functioning because of the different toxins and pollutants that we've inhaled and ingested. But whatever it is, we're breathing all the time. You can't say, hey, you know what? Yesterday's breath is going to work for now. Yesterday's meal will sustain me today. There's the concept of constant perpetual. I'm speaking right now. I need to be willing to speak. And if I choose to stop, I stop wanting, I stop speaking. So there's a constant cosmic breath that is pulsating and energizing and revitalizing and renewing existence, which means that every second, everything is renewed. Now, this isn't just a mystical concept. Today we know this on the level of especially quantum mechanics, the level of subatomic energy, that everything, even inanimate things, are pulsating with life, pulsating with energy all the time. Just we may not feel it. So what happens is a dissonance between the inner renewed energy and the outer surface, which can often become, as I said, robotic, habitual, routine, boring, monotonous. And that's why I often tell people when I meet them, and I say, nice to meet you. And they say, what do you mean? We met yesterday, we met last year. And I say, no, but you're a new person and I'm a new person. Even if we met physically, I know your face, you know my face, but a relationship is that there's constant renewal. Can you imagine if your relationships, you felt constant renewal? Most people will say, A marriage, even if I love the person I'm married to or connected with, but at some point it's so predictable. There's nothing spontaneous. But if you're able to tap into this energy, King Solomon writes in the book of Ecclesiastes, he writes, the generation comes and a generation goes, and there's nothing new under the sun. It's a very depressing statement. All the rivers flow to the sea and the sea doesn't get full. This type of it's going nowhere. It's futile. A futile life. Going through the routines again and again. The more things change, the more they stay the same. But the expression he uses is under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. But above the sun, which doesn't just mean physically above the sun, meaning when you go deeper into your own existence, into your own soul, you actually can experience constant renewal. And therefore, even if we've met before, and I look at you and you look at me, the truth is, there's something new about it. But it's up to us to create that renewal. I should better say, not to create, but to access, to tap into it. You ever see people that have that sparkle in the eye? It's the same face, but it's constantly changing. I remember once speaking to a top-notch, it was what they call speed photography. He was a master at photography of ice skaters, of sprint runners, people who were in the move. And it was a particular type of photography because you have to capture motion, which most of us would just become a blur if we took a picture. And I remember him telling me that there are different types of people he photographs. There are people, he says, they always look the same. They're like porcelain, like plastic, cellulite heroes. And they never change. Their face is always the same. He says, there are people, same person, every time I take a picture of them, they look differently. I say, what's the difference? He says, some people are dead. They're dead on the inside, so their face becomes almost like this, like corpse-like. Yes, it may even look good, but it's constantly the same. And then there are people who constantly live life itself. So every feature, every wrinkle, the twinkle, the crinkle, all reflect a different facet, and there's constant change. I found it interesting. I didn't want to go into who's who, but it has to do a lot with what you feel inside. Even though you may say you're hiding your feelings, no, it has a lot to do. When you wake up in the morning and you're excited about life, it reflects on your face. People see enthusiasm. They sense it. It's a vibe. Yeah, of course, there are con artists. You can always fake certain things. Interesting, in Hebrew, the word for face is the same word for inside. In English, when you say the face, on the face of it, on the surface of it, it just means surface. You can say your face shows one thing, but your feelings could be very different. You can smile to someone and then stab them in the back. But a true reality is a seamless one. Like children, what you see is what you get. The inner is reflected in the outer, and the outer reflects the inner. So my friends, what I want to say to you is not just Happy New Year, nice greeting, tomorrow will be a new day, a new year, and then we go back to our routines. That's why resolutions don't last long. Because how long can you hold on to the inspiration? Even if you make a resolution, even if you're excited and enthusiastic, you're really driven, and your intentions are good, it's very hard to hold on to because you're not holding on to that energy flow. You're allowing yourself to get trapped on the outer, tedious, routine, boring level, where you really have to become someone that allows the electricity within you, that energy, to just flow to the outside. So you ask, how do you do that? You do that by first doing something you really enjoy. You'll see, for example, when people listen to music and enjoy music, there's a natural beat. You tap your foot, you sing along, your whole being sometimes sways with it. You may not even be noticing it, because you're aligning your outside with the inner rhythm of music. The same thing is when you read a book that excites you. So the key is to find exciting things that are healthy, because if they're not healthy, they're not really doing the job. They're simulating. Then you are inducing a state like that, but it's not real. You want something that actually is real. So finding something you really enjoy doing. Some people just love doing a favor for another person. There's something about it that makes you come much more alive. When I say life, I don't just mean biological life. It taps into those forces of renewal. And that's why I said we're excited to meet you. Because whether it's someone that's listening to this program for the first time or someone that's listened many times, it's always new. It's always new. It's not always the ideas maybe now new, but there's a new commitment, a new energy. I mean, that's what I like to at least project. But I also like to feel that it's coming the other direction as well. And that's by really connecting to that source of energy, the energy source, which is within each one of us. Look at young children. Young children. They don't need to be motivated. No one has to spark anything. They're not looking, what am I going to do next? Mommy, I'm bored. By them, they find excitement everywhere. They crawl around, they find excitement in a little corner of a room. Everything is exciting to them. So I'm not suggesting we turn back into little children, but we have to get that energy back. I remember once, I was sitting with someone that we were meeting about a program we were scheduling. And he happened to bring along his little boy. His baby boy was maybe 11 months old, 12 months old. I don't remember exactly. And he was such a wild kid. And my office is like a mecca for babies, especially with all the paper all over the place. And this kid made such a mess, throwing around papers all over it was a... And I was smiling. And the fellow that I was talking to said to me, I apologize, I'll clean up afterwards. I said, no, first of all, it's a good excuse to clean up, and I'll get rid of papers that I don't really need. And second of all, I just look at this child, look how exciting he is. Just watching him made me excited. Then listen to what happened. By accident or intentionally, I turned on the monitor, I turned on the TV. Suddenly, this child that couldn't stop moving froze, sitting, I remember staring at the screen, like hypnotized, in a trance, paralyzed, I would say. All the movement stopped. I was just staring at the moving images. It was so chilling because you saw the contrast of life to death. He became death. Now, of course, not dead, but his whole, that movement, that mobility, that spontaneity, that free abandon, to the point that his father says to me, shut it off, shut it off. So after 30 seconds, I shut it, but the little child still stared. You still look at the screen even though it's blank. And then it took another minute, then he's back to what he was doing. I was thinking, what are the hours, the average hours most of us watch television or watch the screen today with the internet or our mobile phones? Hours, 6, 7, I don't even know the average. This was 30 seconds. Imagine those 30 seconds become 30 minutes and become 30 hours. And year after year, what does it do? Does it not deaden? Does it not dampen? Does it not in some way minimize and lower the volume of our inner energy? And then the dissonance grows from that inner energy of your spirit, which is now trapped and locked inside, to the outer world that is demanding and imposing on us, watch me, get frozen, be frozen in my presence. That's what it comes down to. And we know being frozen, yes, is good for ice in your drink. But you want liquidity. You want to be mobile. You want to be liquid, fluid. That's what defines life. So there is a battle, my friends, between the fluidity of our lives and the solidness. Now, of course, there's certain things need to be solid and consistent and reliable, unwavering, like the roots of a tree. But the roots of the tree is the foundation. The tree itself should be growing. And the deeper the roots, the tree should expand and spread its wings. So we all need our foundations, but we need that constant renewal. That constant renewable energy is a big thing today. But the biggest renewable energy is the energy within yourself. So step one, as I said, suggestion number one is find something that you really enjoy doing, because that's the things that will excite you, that in a way tap into that inner energy, that inner electricity. 2, it should never be just about yourself. Selfishness or serving your own needs is by definition something that is going to slow you down. Working with another person, whether it's having a partner, whether it's volunteering, whether it's inspiring or being inspired, whether it's teaching, whether it's mentoring, that tends to create energy. I can't tell you, I probably experience much more energy when I deal with others than when I deal with myself. The expression of the Talmud, where the sage, they asked him where he learned most of what he knows. He said, I learned much from my teachers. I learned even more from my colleagues. But above all, most of all, I learned from my students. So those students are not on his same level as him, as his colleagues, and definitely not as his teachers, but students provoke, they challenge, they force you to go out of your comfort zone. Not just with people that are equals, that are peers. And that in turn generates energy. The third thing is resistance. Allow resistance in your life. What do I mean by resistance? I'm not talking about finding an enemy, but someone that will challenge you. Resistance draws out the best in you. Resistance, pressure, deadlines. You'll never know how strong your arm is, but if someone pushes back, then you have to push forward. Like a dam. You dam the water and the water starts building up. You start realizing how powerful it is. Another expression from the Talmud, you don't know, the olive produces oil only after you press it. You press the olive and the oil is produced. The same thing psychologically in our lives. Allow resistance. You have an idea, present it to someone, and let them argue. And not just to argue in order argument's sake, but in order to challenge, to stretch the idea. Resistance is a critical element in true growth. That's why relationships shouldn't just be we agree about everything. I'm not suggesting arguing about everything, but there should be a give and take. That's how we grow. So welcome it into your life. Many of us are insecure and afraid. Resistance for us is like 1 second. To the point some people say, you need to be wrong for me to be right. Why? You may be right in a certain angle. I have a different angle. That's the third thing. All these are forces that help force the energy coming from within. Think of a volcano. Now, we know volcanic eruptions are not exactly something that you should be in the line of fire. But still, it's the energy that pents up, the pent-up energy within that builds up, and finally erupts. Now, we're looking for an eruption, a healthy eruption, something that breaks through. So you take all these elements, something you really enjoy, working with others, resistance, and a cause that's greater than yourself. These are the forces that bring out energy from you. And finally, commitment. Commit with a friend to start studying every day. Let's read something once a day, once a week, but a commitment. It's not how long that commitment, it's not talking about whether you're doing it for 10 minutes or half hour, but consistency. The consistency is what creates the energy. Remember earlier we spoke about routines and boredom and monotony. That's consistency the wrong way. That's becoming habits and routines that tend to become lifeless. We're talking about life-filled consistency, because that becomes then your new pattern, your new routine. And then comes finally the point of always growing. Make sure that even if you do something good, the next day or the next time you engage with it, do it a little more. Push yourself a little more. Like they say, till it hurts. There's a fascinating statement in a Talmudic statement that says that a person who, the custom was back in those days, that they studied their teachings, they would review them 100 times. 100 times. But that was not considered effort. Because once it becomes your habit, it's not effort. If someone went to the 101st time, they went out of their comfort zone, that was considered serving. That was considered an effort. That meant you really worked at it. So comfort zones are exactly what they imply. They make you comfortable. But comfort does not bring out that renewable energy. What brings out renewable energy when you're not in your comfort zone? You meet a new person, you go out of your way, you do something different. You give charity, give $1 more. You're volunteering, volunteer 1/2 hour more. Anything that's beyond your comfort zone is another generator of tremendous energy. Now, when you commit to all of these things and you maintain it day after day, the new year is not just one day. It'll be a new year every moment, every day, every week, every month, and on and on and on. Is it easy to always maintain? We all are human beings. We all need to rest. We need respite. We need sleep. And we need relaxation at times. But not as an end in itself. Remember, that respite is also part of it. Just like the heart's contraction and expansion. It's not that the heart is resting. It needs tension, resolution. But the resolution is part of the next step, so you can then take the next leap forward. So it's a constant journey, moving forward. I remember I was once giving a class, and there were some refreshments on the table, some coffee beans, some fruits, and there were bottles of seltzer, of sparkling water. And as you know how it goes, someone was thirsty, and they opened up the bottle, and instead of ending up in a cup, it ended up all over them. Okay, the pressure, fine. So I decided to change the title of my class. It reminded me of Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance. So I said, let's do a class titled The Art of Opening Up a Seltzer Bottle. And I said, the secret is this, that you turn twice one direction and once back. Twice in one direction, once back. If you go once and once back, you're just never going to open the bottle. But you have to do 2 steps ahead, 1 step back. That way, the pressure is slowly released, and ultimately you get the bottle open. In life, we're all going to have setbacks. We're all going to have times where we need to calm down and relax, or even step back. But make sure your setbacks or your step backs are 1 step. And your thrust forward, when you're ready for that, should be 2. So 2 with 1, you'll always be progressing, you'll always be growing, you'll always be climbing the mountain and seeing broader horizons. This is my wish to you for the new year. It shouldn't just be a new year today, a healthy year, a happy year, success in all your endeavors, materially, spiritually, abundance in livelihood, much, much joy from your relationships, your intimacy, your friends. But above all, renewal in all of them. That even after this day ends, keep on accessing the energy that's within you. The renewal does not have to come from outside you. It's right in there. It's like Michelangelo said when they asked him how he sculpted those beautiful angels in the marble. I saw the angel trapped in the marble, and I carved and set her free. You have the energy there. You have the flower, you have the music, you have the beauty, you have the angel, and you need to carve, because sometimes it's trapped. It's trapped in the static, lifeless, frozen marble or concrete or other substances. And when you access it, it comes flowing forth like a wellspring. Yes, like well springs from within the earth. So even though on the earth's surface you may not see it, but then suddenly you recognize there's this energy, this geyser that spurts forth. May you experience that every moment and every day of your life. Happy New Year. Please stay in touch, especially as we enter this new year. I hope to make new friends and also make new friends of old friends through this experience of renewal. My name is Simon Jacobson, Meaningful Life Center, meaningfullife.com, where we are dedicated to meaningful life, a renewed meaningful life every moment. Please, I'd love to hear feedback, thoughts, comments, resistance. Let's generate energy together. Let's dance. That's what a dance is. We dance, it takes 2 to tango. And how much more so the synergy when you have 3 or 4 or 5 and 5 billion. So please, I'd love to hear your feedback, and please share, pay it forward, share it with anyone you see fit. Let's create energy. Together we can do something far greater than the sum of the parts. Thank you again. Happy New Year. Be well and be blessed.